Hey there, Start here. We're going to be going back into Giorgione, also known as Big George. We're going to be taking on the Kappa of unknown origin. Just doing another sort of simplified clear from the one that I did earlier. So my initial clear, I brought a full 6-unit team. And honestly, it's not really necessary as long as you're willing to, take the time, do the 4 turns to lit all of his buffs go away, and then you just do a nice big burst on on turn 4 to finish it off. And I'm going to kind of explain the mechanics of the boss, sort of explain what it's doing and why we wait to 4 turns to do our big burst. You don't have to. I'll do a 2-turn clear after this one and post that one later. You can do it in 2 turns. You could probably even do it in 1 turn if you had, really strong evokers and you just brought them all in and did a big burst on turn 1. Or if you had really strong mages, you could do it on turn 1, possibly. But 2 turns is a lot more comfortable for the fastest clear on this guy. But 4 turns is probably the easiest and most comfortable strategy for getting this one done. And so here's the team. I'm only going to take 5 units. And Sylvie is of course indispensable for this. I mean, you don't absolutely need her. I would say just if you don't have Sylvie, bring somebody that has high magic mitigation in their kit, because Runda is going to provide the high general mitigation and the high physical mitigation so that he can tank all of the single target physical attacks. But there's a lot of uncoverable magic damage that happens starting on turn 3. And so you need somebody to provide the team with magic mitigation. In this case, Sylvie's going to do it. Sylvie, of course, also provides the earth imbue and the earth amps and all of that stuff. So she's pretty important for this particular fight. But if you notice I have a slot empty there. So if you need 2 units to kind of do that for you, like if you happen to have Tsukiko provides your earth amps and she brings some extra damage to the team. So slot her in that empty slot, and then bring somebody like Sacred Shield Charlotte, who can provide your team with 80% magic mitigation throughout the fight, and you should be good to go. All right. But let's go ahead and just start with the gear. So Sylvie is actually going to be the provoke unit. Now she's not actually going to take any damage, or at least she shouldn't during this fight, but we want her to provoke. That way it will activate Runda's cover for taking the physical damage, because the physical damage is pretty strong. Now even if Runda just straight up provoked it, he wouldn't die, but this just makes sure in case your Runda isn't very strong. So whatever you have to make her passive provoke, you see I just gave her Dancer's Diadem. If you don't have it, use like Moogle Charms or whatever you need. Otherwise, she doesn't really need much except for High Spirit. Everybody on the team needs to have High Spirit for those magic, the incoming magic damage. Otherwise, she doesn't really need anything specific. You see Blizzard Orb was there just left over from a previous fight. She's not going to do any kind of countering here, except maybe she might counter from the magic damage. And so, it might be a good idea to give her some counter materials, just in case somebody dies from the magic damage, and then she will potentially counter that with her raise and re-raise skill. So, there is some potential there to give her some kind of counter gear, and Blizzard Orb's a really nice one. All right. Esther, of course, is just built full-on damage, pretty much the same build you saw in my initial clear, just as much as I can give her. I love the upgrades to all the cow gear. Like, the stats are insane with the upgraded cow gear. So now Esther easily hits over 9,000. Loving it. And she should be capped on killers. Yep, 300 demon, 300 fairy, 300 LB damage, and that's all she needs. All right, she'll do 2 LBs, 1 on turn 2 just to take a healthy chunk of damage off, and then again on turn 4 to finish it off. And it works out very nicely with Esther's rotation because the physical mitigation is lower on turns 4 and 2. If you're using physical units, you definitely want to do your bursts on turn 2, 4, 6, 8. and you know that'll make it a lot easier for you. Runda here is just full on bulk. A little bit of evasion from Bohemi's card, but yeah, he's not really going to need it. Pretty standard build for Runda there. Cacteria just needs a lot of bulk in her normal form, because on turn 3 is when we start getting magic damage, and so she'll shift into her normal form because she's going to do a water resist buff anyways, and that way she can take that magic damage over time. So, you know, give her lots of spirit and HP in her normal form. In her Brave Shift form, I just left her pretty much as is. I haven't, honestly, I haven't changed anything in her Brave Shift build for ages. So it just kind of sits there. All right, she's not doing any damage. Bulwark, of course, is easy to hit high spirit and HP, so he should be able to take the magic damage like a champ. And he's here for the Fairy Killer. You notice I used Blue Mage Fina in the last one. Bulwark is another good example of a unit that brings Fairy Killers here. He'll also be chaining with Esther using Eye of the Dragon. All right. So that is the team. Let's see how we get in here and get it done. So Big George here, the way he works is he kind of flip-flops between higher physical or higher magic mitigation. He always has physical and magic mitigation up on every turn, but it's an 80-30 split, and it flip-flops. So right now he starts with a preemptive mitigation that has higher physical mitigation. So currently he has 80% physical mitigation and 30% magic mitigation, and it alternates turn by turn. So next turn it'll be 30% physical mitigation and 80% magic mitigation. So while you're above 50% HP, you're going to want to use physical DPS on even turns, so like 2, 4, 6, 8. Magic damage is more effective on odd turns, 1, 3, 5, 7. Evokers obviously can ignore the mitigation completely and just do whatever they want on any turn. Once you push the threshold, that split changes to 80-50. And it just resumes from wherever you left off, so it doesn't reset. So depending on what turn you push the threshold, it could switch to, you know, based on wherever you left off. Okay, so that's why we're going to do a 4-turn strategy. That, and because if you hit it with a weak element for 3 turns in a row, all of its stat buffs go away. Mitigations are still there, but stat buffs go away, and that's huge. And it starts off with a 200% defense and spirit buff, so you're not going to do any damage to it on turn 1. Turn 2 it goes down to 100%, turn 3 it's 50%, and then turn 4 it's gone. Alright, so Sylvie is just going to start off by putting up some magic mitigation for the team. Compassionate Night, this is to make sure nobody gets charmed, because it will use charm on turn 2, so we got to set that up right now. Alright, and then we can do Paladin's Defense, alright, to get some defense buffs and some Mirage stacks for Runda. Runda will just do his LB. Okay. Esther is just going to set up and get ready for an LB next turn. Bulwark can do a little bit of morale fill, why not? And let's go ahead and do our Fairy Killer. Yeah, okay. Cacteria is going to... Oh, actually, sorry, she needs to be in Brave Shift form on this turn. I should have started her in Brave Shift. All right, she is going to go ahead and do Million Needles for the 90% attack mag breaks, Deadly Drought for Earth Imperil, and Desert Fury, just to hit it with Earth on this turn. Okay. Alright, so it's going to try to attack Sylvie, but hopefully Runda will jump out in front of it. Alright, so you see it put up Anti-Magic Shell. Alright, so now that the magic mitigation is at 80% and the physical mitigation is at 30%. The defense spirit buff has been reduced to 100%, so we should be able to actually do some damage here. We're hoping we don't push the threshold. You don't want to push the threshold on this turn if you can help it, all right, because then it resets everything. But, you know, it's nice if you get close. So now Sylvie can start the Earth ramp with Marion's Blessing Earth. And then we'll go ahead and do a Demon Killer on Esther. And why not just do some Paladin's Offense for a little buff. Okay? Runda can just guard. He doesn't need to do anything. Bulwark is going to chain it up with Esther. And Cacteria. Cacteria will go ahead and do the armor breaking needles for the higher defense break. And yeah, I mean, really that's all she needs to do on this turn, actually. I don't think she needs to do anything else, to be quite honest. And in fact, what we can do, we can go ahead and shift turn on this turn. And do armor breaking. And go ahead and set up her Thorny Teamwork. Alright, that sets up the 150% water buff. And yeah, we'll just do, I don't know. Really, she doesn't need to do anything else, to be quite honest. Okay. Runda can guard, like I said, and let's just chain it up. See how much we get. Oh, please don't hit the... Oh, whew. That scared me for a second there. I thought she might actually push the threshold. Alright. We're in good position now. We should definitely kill this thing on turn 4. Easy peasy. So now it's flipped the mitigations again. So now it's 80% physical mitigation, but that's fine because it's going to go back to 30% physical mitigation next turn, and all of its buffs will be gone on next turn. So now it's just an easy peasy setup turn. All right. Again, Bulwark is just going to do his Fairy Killer again. Sylvie will go ahead and do her Brave Shift LB to get ready for next turn. Runda can go ahead and do his SLB, so everyone has the higher general mitigation. Cacteria can guard, okay, because we want to just make sure. I mean, it actually doesn't matter if she dies. She's basically done. She's done everything that she can, but it would be nice to have her chain with Runda on next turn to get the chain cap ramped up. So we'll go ahead and guard her just to make sure she doesn't die. Alright, and Esther will just set up for another burst. Now we have a magic damage over time on us, and it's going to hurt Esther more than anybody, but she should not die from it. Yeah, see, it took quite a bit. And now we're going to get some uncoverable magic damage as well. Okay, it's mostly water and wind magic damage, so as long as you've got decent water and wind buffs up, everyone should be fine. You see, Esther's the only one that's in real trouble because everybody else has high spirit. So, you know, if your Esther is looking like you're in trouble, you can actually use Bulwark to boost your wind resistance a little bit better. I didn't even really consider it, but that is something that you could do here. All right, now we're ready to kill this thing. So Sylvie is just going to do another Poached Demon on Esther. Cacteria will triple Bolting Strike. Oh, Shifter. She's going to triple Bolting Strike with Runda to build up the chain. So we've got our full chain cap. All right, there we go. And then, yeah, Esther and Bulwark just chain it up. Okay. So yeah, this should get it done, and it should be an easy peasy clear here. Let's see. Oh yeah, this thing's dead. Like way overkill. Yeah. All right. So yeah, as you can see, it's mostly just a lot of single target physical damage, and Runda covers that beautifully with a little bit of magic damage that you have to worry about. If you start, you know, if you push the threshold, it starts doing a lot of non-elemental uncoverable magic damage, and that can really hurt. If you don't kill it on turn 4, then there's a good chance the damage over time will kill your Esther, or anybody that's not built with bulky spirit. So yeah, so you know, the key takeaways here are you want a provoke unit who can take some hits, or you know, you want a physical cover tank with a separate provoke unit, so the physical cover tank jumps out in front of cover, which greatly reduces your damage. And then, yeah, anybody that's a little bit too squishy, you know, might not survive that damage over time on turn 3. So, you know, just think about increasing your bulk and your spirit on your damage dealers in those cases. All right, so there you go. You know, pretty decent little score there. Esther obviously doing all the damage. She carries this beautifully, thanks to her best girl Sylvie coming along with her. All right. And that's pretty much it. I already have everything I want. The lapis. I'm hoarding the lapis. As you can see, I have drained a bit of my lapis reserves because I did throw some tickets at the Tsukiko banner, and I did pull a Tsukiko with tickets. So then I did the step up banner to get the shards, and happened to get another Tsukiko on the way up. So I now have her at EX2, and I'm excited to get in and play around with her. I'm going to do a 2-turn clear strategy using Foxy Girl Tsukiko. So stay tuned for that. That'll be coming up next. All right, and I will see you guys on the other side.